Welcome back. So we have been discussing about what is PPC and what is the objective of PPC. As we have discussed, in case of Six Sigma, out of 1 million products, we'll be having 3.4 defects. Okay, as the sigma level decreases, as you can see in case of 1 sigma, there will be around 6 lakhs defectives. So that is how you certify your production system. Okay, so this is not a one-time process. You have to keep on continuously monitoring your number of defects, and you have to control it such that you can retain your certification. Yeah. Now moving on to our original topic, that is inventory. So what is inventory and how we are going to control it? So when I was talking about the mismatch between the supply and demand, I did make 2 points, right? You can never accurately predict your demand. If you are going to predict your demand in such a way, there is some high frequency. For example, as I stated before, your supply is say 450 and your demand is 500. Okay, so you have predicted your demand to be 450 and you have manufactured 450 products, but at that day nearly 500 products have been sold out, right? So what here actually happens is you will be selling out 450 products, but the remaining 50 products, it will be like you will be losing the customer. The customer will either go to your competitor or he will be coming back the next day to get the product. Anyway, there will be some loss in the customer satisfaction. If the reverse occurs, that is, you are going to manufacture 500 products, but your actual demand is only 450. So now what happens is, yes, the customer has been satisfied because you are able to sell out the 450 products, but you are having an excess of 50 products in hand at the end of the day. So this excess product is nothing but your inventory. Okay, so you cannot accurately predict the demand. There will be sometimes there will be a spike or there will be a fall in demand. So in order to meet up this fluctuation in demand, you should have some excess quantity in hand. So this excess quantity is known as inventory. Okay, so let us see the definition. Inventory is the stock of idle resource of any movable item. So this word is very important. It should be a movable item having economic value. Okay, so which that you are going to use at a later time. As I said here, this 50 units you will be using up in the next day, right? Unless it is a perishable item, you can use it on the next day. For example, if it's going to be a stepped shaft, you can obviously use it in the next day. So why we are maintaining inventory? In order to meet the expected or unexpected demand and to have a smooth operation of the shop floor. So that is what inventory about. So it should be a movable item, it should have some economic value, and it should be used at the later time. So these are the 3 points: movable item, economic value, and it should be used at the later time. So I have listed some examples. Let us see which are all inventory, which all comes under inventory and which doesn't comes under inventory. Okay, so cast iron billet. So what do you mean by billet? A billet is nothing but a form of raw material. So if you are going to buy aluminum or a cast iron or any component, you will be either getting it in the form of bar or billet. Billet is nothing but a cylindrical component. Okay, so after getting that cylindrical component only, you can machine it into your required shape and size, right? So cast iron billet. So is it an inventory? Yes, it is an inventory because this is a movable item. Okay, so this can be transported or this can be sold out. That is, you can push it to your customer or push it to your retailer, etc. Right? So it is a movable item. So this is an inventory. The next one, semi-processed cast iron gear. Okay, so let me tell you an example. So you are going to manufacture gear, right? So gear manufacturing process will require you have to cut the billet into required shapes, and then you have to machine it in a horizontal milling machine or a vertical milling machine. Okay, so we have two machines here. The first one is a cutter and second one is a milling machine. Okay, so when I put into the cutter, the billet should be in the raw material format. Okay, so this is a raw material. The raw material is fed into machine A. Okay, so what a cutter does is it is going to cut, say for example 100 centimeter billet into 1 centimeter 1 centimeter raw materials. Okay, so that is your semi processed gear. Okay, so I got the raw material that is of 1 centimeter, then that will be moved to the milling machine. So at the end of the operation in the milling machine, I will be getting the gear. Okay, so this is how the sequence goes. So the raw material enters the machine A. In case of machine A, the some processing, there is some value adding activity takes place. Then from A, it enters to B. So B is the finishing process. Here I am manufacturing the gear, and at the end of B, you are getting the finished product. So the product that comes out of A and moves into B, that is known as semi-processed product. Okay, so it is not completely the finished product and it is not completely a raw material. It is in between those. That's why it is known as semi-processed. Some particular value has been added, but it is still not yet a finished product. So let us see whether semi-processed cast iron gear comes under inventory. Okay, so this is also a movable item. This is also having an economic value. So that is also an inventory. Next one, cast iron gear. Okay, so it comes out of here. So whether this product is inventory or not, yes, it is also inventory. Okay, so let me tell why we are maintaining inventory. Suppose your machine, say for example A breaks down. Okay, I cannot stop the production of B till machine A is getting repaired. Okay, what I have to do is I have to maintain inventory at this point. If I had some semi-finished billet cut into required shape, then I can feed it into machine B and I can process it. Okay, so if machine A has stopped, or it is under repair or under maintenance, it is not necessary that machine B should also be stopped. Okay, so inventory is maintained in such a way these kind of machine breakdown doesn't affect the entire production system. Okay, so at various points across your shop floor, inventories will be maintained. Okay, so next one is grinding wheel. So as of now, we saw only the products, right? Either it will be a raw material or some semi-finished product or final finished product. So grinding wheel, it is a tool, right? Grinding wheel. So does it come under inventory? Yes, it is also an inventory. It is also a movable item. It is also having an economic value and it can be used at a later time. Okay, so you will be actually, if your current grinding machine has a grinding wheel, you can have an additional excess wheel in storage, because if there is a sudden breakdown, you can use the excess wheel to keep up the production. Yeah, next one is milling machine. Okay, so if a milling machine A breaks down, can you have an additional milling machine B in waiting? Is it inventory or not? It is not an inventory. Why? Because a machine is not a movable item. It is a fixed item. Okay, so you will be it is not ideal, or it is not financially advantage to keep an excess machine just because your current machine is going to break down. Okay, so that's why milling machine doesn't comes under inventory. The next one, end mill cutter. Okay, so the cutting tool you are going to use, is that inventory? Just like grinding wheel, a cutter is also inventory. If your current HSS cutter fails, then you can have one in excess so that the entire production doesn't break down. What about labor? Is a labor a movable item? Okay, yes, labor is a resource, but it can never be an inventory. Okay, so remember, either your raw material or a semi-processed item or your finished item can be an inventory, or your maintenance items like your cutter, your tools, your tooling accessories, they can be inventory. But your machine or the labor, they cannot be inventory. Okay, they are not movable items. Okay, so only the above items can serve as inventory. Right. So next, let us see what are the classifications of inventory. Okay, this is a very important 8-mark question. So inventory is classified based on 3 categories. Okay, the first one is where the demand is originating. Okay, the source of the demand. The second one is where the inventory is positioned in the production process. Okay, and third one is what is the purpose of the inventory. Okay, so depending on these category, we are going to further classify. Let us see the first category, that is where the demand arises. Okay, so according to this classification, we have 2 types: independent demand inventory and dependent demand inventory. Okay, so let me start with an example. Consider you're a furniture manufacturing firm. Okay, so you are going to manufacture chairs you want to know what is the demand of the chair. Okay, so where does the demand originates? From an external customer. Okay, so the demand for the chair originates from a source outside your firm, and that demand will be independent of any actions of the firm. Okay, so the demand for your product is arising outside your firm and it is independent of any action of the firm. So that type of inventory is known as independent demand inventory. Okay, so the chairs, okay, whatever finished products you are having, that will come under independent demand inventory. Okay, the next one is dependent demand inventory. Okay, take the same example. You are manufacturing chairs. Okay, say for example, the customers has given you say 100 units. They want 100 chairs at the end of the day. Okay, so if you are going to manufacture 100 chairs, what are the subcomponents in the chair? You will be manufacturing a seat cushion, armrest, and 4 legs. Okay, so depending upon the demand of the chair, say 100 chairs is needed. So how many legs you will be manufacturing? 4 into 100, 400. Okay, so those decisions will be taken in-house. Okay, the demand for those semi-finished products, that will be decided by the firm itself. Okay, the firm might decide that it is optimal to manufacture 500 legs even though the demand is only for 100 chair. Okay, they might set up a batch production and say, let me manufacture 500 legs, and the remaining 100 legs I can use in the next day. Okay, so this demand arises in-house inside the firm, and the firm's action decides the source of that particular inventory. So that is known as dependent demand inventory. Okay, so let me repeat the example. In case of independent demand inventory, all the finished products will serve as independent demand inventory, and the subcomponents of the finished product will serve as a dependent demand inventory. Yeah, next let us see the second classification, that is position of the inventory. Consider this example. Okay, so raw material enters machine A, and out of the machine A you are having semi-finished product. Okay, it enters machine B, some additional value addition takes place, and second category of semi-finished products comes out and enters machine C, and at the end of the machine C you are getting the finished product. So this is the sequence of the process. Okay, so let me give a small example. Let this be a cutting machine. You are going to manufacture a step shaft. So your billets are cut. So this is the cutting machine. The next one is a lathe. You are going to turn it. And the third one is a super finished process. Say for example, lapping operation. Okay, this is how it takes place. So the raw material enters machine A, comes out as a reduced sized billet. Okay, you are going to take it as some required shape and size. Then enters lathe. Here stepped shaft is produced, and machine C will super finish and give you the finished products. Now the first one, raw material inventory. Okay, so I am going to maintain inventory at this position. Okay, I don't know what will happen to my supplier. Suddenly there might be a disruption, or the supplier might face some kind of problem. Okay, and if the supplier is not able to provide me the raw material, I cannot stop my entire production. Okay, so in case of emergency, I have to maintain some inventory at this position. So the product is in the form of raw material at this position, and hence this is known as raw material inventory. Okay, now it is moving on. So if I maintain inventory at this position, that is cut billets. Okay, I have cut the billets of required shape and size. Say for example, machine A has disrupted suddenly, and I cannot stop my entire production because of one little machine getting disrupted or getting breakdown. So what I have to do, I have to maintain inventory at this point, so that even though machine A fails, machine B, C can continuously produce and give me the finished items. Okay, so if I maintain inventory at this point, it is known as work in process inventory. Okay, so work in process, it means a semi-finished product. Some value has been added to it. It is neither a raw material nor a finished good. So if I maintain inventory at this position, that is between B and C, that is also a work in process inventory. Of course, this and this are not same, because here it is in the billet form and here it is in a stepped shaft format. So they are not same, but they come under the same category, that is work in process inventory. And the last one is if you maintain inventory at this position, that is finished product. then that is known as